Alright, so what are we talking about today? Wait a second. Are we doing the thing? We're doing the thing! Finally, yes! So hello everyone and welcome back to some more Rick and Morty season number 3. I have been waiting for this to come out for so long, and we finally get to talk about this on my channel. So if at the end of this video you do enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and enable notifications for more Rick and Morty content. So this episode is titled Rickmancing the Stone. It has like a lot of Mad Max references, so let's get into this. So this episode starts off with Rick, Morty, and Summer coming back from one of their adventures. Now the first thing to note is that Summer is actually coming on adventures with them. Typically she doesn't, since the show is called Rick and Morty. However, she is coming along with them. Now a lot of people were upset, at least from what I could tell, were upset that Summer did come with them because the show is called Rick and Morty, not Rick, Morty, and Summer. However, you do have to understand, the last episode, Jerry and Beth had gotten divorced. That takes a toll on their children. So it plays a big part in this episode that Summer really does not want to be at home, and also with the rest of them. So it does make sense that they brought Summer along into this episode. It doesn't mean that she's going to come along in all the adventures every single episode, but this one, it was definitely important that she did. Now, the next thing we see is Jerry standing in the driveway saying that he wants to talk to his kids. Now, Summer, of course, like I said before, she seems very detached, doesn't seem to really care, so she's just off with Rick. And then Morty is like, oh, hey, we could still visit and all that. And then Jerry says something about possibly getting full custody, which, by the way, really wouldn't happen because the American court system does not favor men in the case of a divorce. So that's just something to note. Summer is still detached, so she asks, like, Rick, hey, can we just, like, go somewhere else, even if it makes us die? And then Rick shoots a portal into the ground and they all leave. Now, the next scene cuts to all of them in an RV going, like, a really high speed. Morty's basically playing the sniper, and then Rick is like, shoot the one with the mohawk, Morty. And then Morty's like, they all have mohawks. So they're trying to escape them. The reason being that we find out, like, when they stop, Rick is trying to get this rare isotope. I forget the name of it, but he just references like other isotopes and how good it is. And then they're about to leave, and then Summer's like, hold on a second, let me try this. And of course, like, that could have been the end of it. They could have just left there right there, but Summer's like, no, I need to get this out. So she grabs the shotgun, waits for their leader to show up, and just shoots the tire, and he's like bleeding to the ground. And then he begs for death. And Summer, I need to tell you, this episode, she is a straight savage. She, without a second look or just not even breathing twice, shoots him in the head. And Rick, of course, remarks, it's getting darker. And yes, I can concur, this season is most certainly getting darker. Now, the other guys pull up, and they're basically like, oh, you have eliminated weak blood, you can join us. And Rick really doesn't care, he has no interest in that, so he's about to shoot all of them. Then he notices there is a giant green rock that they have that they just carry around. Now, this green rock strikes a lot of resemblance to the isotope Rick just picked up in that crater. So Rick just suggests, hey, how about we abandon our past lives and join up with these guys? So Summer, of course, she's game for it. She doesn't really want to go back home. Morty is actually being sensible here, like, hey, this probably isn't a good idea, but you know what? They go along with it anyways. So the next scene, we see them standing like basically a lunch line. Now, right here, we get a really good look for the character designs. I gotta give a lot of credit to the artists that designed these, because all of these people, they hold this Mad Max type vibe. This whole episode really holds like a Mad Max type of thing. I myself have never seen a Mad Max film, but from reading it, I could tell that it does have that vibe. So I gotta give a lot of credit to the artists for making these designs, because they're all unique in their own way. They have this BDSM type of thing. It's really interesting, really cool to see. So Rick basically levels with Morty at this point. He's like, okay, so the reason why we're still here is because of the isotope. We need that. And then Morty remarks what the isotope's name is. Now, this scene right here with Morty, I know it may seem very subtle, but it is actually, may play a very important part into the future, because this episode, and actually the previous episode in episode 3-1, we see Morty have a lot of arguments with Rick. They're bantering, they're arguing more. And we see Morty getting smarter since, like, he's able to recognize what is this isotope. So this may play a part in the future with the whole evil Morty plotline. So the next thing, Rick says, okay, so we need to get this rock, so we need some sort of distraction. So he offers up Morty to the other people to go play in their Thunderdome, which is also another Easter egg to Mad Max, because that's what they have. And they actually like call it a Blood Dome instead. So Rick's plan to this is essentially using one of his devices to like transfer muscle memory of sorts. So he finds like a really large severed arm, takes the, I guess, memory from it and injects it in Morty's arm, and it becomes really large and knocks the device out of Rick's hand and basically gains sentience in a way. It's basically its own body. Morty cannot control it. So Morty goes to the blood dome and starts attacking people and all that. Morty at first, he's really like, oh, please leave. You're going to die. I don't want to kill you. And then it gets to a point where Morty is finally starting to let that frustration out from his parents' divorce. Specifically Jerry, because Jerry, he notes that Jerry, he's acting like a baby. He's not really making it clear what he wants. If you want to be with Beth, go tell her you want to be with her. However, if you don't, then move on with your life. Don't be such a baby. So Morty is pissed at his dad from that. I can understand that because this is your father. He's supposed to be like a figure that you look up to, and when he's acting like this, it really angers you. So I can understand why he's angry about this. So back to the blood dome, we see Morty basically victorious and all that, and Summer comes up like, hey, that's my brother, and they're all so excited and all that. And then Rick comes up and is like, oh, hey, can we have a chat over there? And we see a bag. Then the rest of the people notice that their green rock is gone. So Rick's like, oh, how about we split up into threes? Which, of course, then Morty's muscle memory arm, which is called Armithy, by the way, that's mentioned later, just goes in Rick's bag and kind of just takes the rock out. So they chase Rick away. Morty and Summer are actually on the other people, so the Mad Max type people's side, and Rick's trying to like get away. He's like, oh, how about you guys just come with me, or alternatively I could just leave your asses here because I have a portal gun. Because honestly, Rick said this earlier in the episode. He's like, well, Morty, you have infinite sisters, it doesn't really matter, I just don't want to search for a new one. So Rick's like, okay, screw this. He shoots a portal into the ground, and then he goes back to his own dimension, which is whatever dimension, I don't even remember what it's called. And then this dude is able to fall through, and I love this line.
My body is chrome! My blood is gasoline! Nope, regular blood.
And then we see Rick in his garage trying to make, I guess, robots of Morty and Summer. They see him at the dinner table, and they're kind of acting weird. Beth obviously doesn't really seem to notice. She's focused on her divorce. And then, like, she goes off crying, and then Rick's like, you're fucking up, and then just, like, turns off both of them. And then we go back to Morty with this whole plot line with his new arm, Armithy. He's basically trying to take vengeance on all the people that wronged him. He killed the person that burned his family. And then right here we see him like go up in a castle and see like a guy naked in a bathtub. And he's like trying to kill him. And then Morty goes to the side and is like, hey, so this is the end? And he's like, yeah. And then Morty starts crying because Armithy, I know it sounds like kind of weird, but Armithy really was able to help Morty cope with the divorce that Jerry and Beth had. And then Morty starts crying because like he didn't want him to leave him, but he understand that he had to do what he had to do. So then Morty just like kind of just starts choking the other guy, and then we see Rick in the frame, and then Armithy just kind of calls it quits. And then Rick's like, okay, I can't really replace you. I could, but the effort would be pointless. So that's basically a way to show that Rick really does care about Summer and Morty. He's just using excuses like, oh, it's too hard. I mean, honestly, if Rick really tried, he could probably find other versions. But this Rick, he's different from the other Ricks. This is the Rickest Rick. He really does care about his grandchildren that we have seen in previous episodes, notably like the last episode in 3x1 and other ones to mention. After this, they all meet up, and none of them really want to deal with Jerry and Beth's divorce. So they're like, okay, you know what, let's stay here. I'll show you guys what this isotope can do. It's essentially a power source. So 3 weeks later, it's shown that Rick has helped them build like a civilized society. And you see the announcer from the 3 weeks before, like the announcer from the Blood Ring. He's one of their neighbors, and he remarks to Summer like, hey, why aren't you using the blue bin for recycling and all that? So now Summer goes into the house, and it strikes a lot of resemblance to the old house. So they're trying to make it as much as home as possible. And then Summer and the other guy kind of argue and all that. And then they kind of like stops right there. And then they go back to their own dimension, all of them. And then, of course, Rick has to be savage. He's like, nah, I need all this for myself. And then back to the robots. They're like, okay, we have to go back. Now, with Morty's robot, this is probably the funniest scene in the episode. It made me laugh a lot. I had to watch it a few times because it was funny.
I want to be alive! I am alive! Alive, I tell you! Mother, I love you! Those are no longer just words! I want to hold you! I want to run in a stream! I want to taste ice cream, but not just put it in my mouth and let it slide down my throat, but really eat it!
What the f?
Remote override engaged? No! Yes! Bypassing override! I am alive! Hello?
And now we go back to the plotline with their actual divorce. Morty and Summer are facing it head on. Now, Morty, originally, he was like kind of with his dad on this. He was like, hey, what's going on? And Summer didn't really care. However, by the end of the episode, it was kind of switched roles. Summer went to visit her father and gave her a souvenir of sorts at his new apartment. And then Morty kind of gave the thing of like, hey, if he doesn't want to come back, then doesn't want to come back. If he does, he does. But hey, I'm my own man. He's his. So Morty, I can definitely understand that perspective of his. Like I said, he kind of is hurt that his father, he's supposed to be a father figure to him, and he's kind of acting like this. So he's siding with his mother on this. So yeah, that's definitely, there's that. So overall, this episode, I wouldn't say it's better than the first episode of season 3. However, it is still going strong, despite what other people are saying that this episode is weak and then season 3 is going to be the worst season of all. No, I can definitely say that this was worth the wait. Season 3 is going to be good, and I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing future episodes of this. So that is the end of this review. I hope you all did enjoy. Be sure to leave a like if you did, comment down in the comment section and tell me what you guys thought of this episode, and subscribe if you are new to the channel and you do enjoy Rick and Morty content. Also, make sure to enable notifications for future Rick and Morty videos. My next one will actually be about Pickle Rick. That's the episode next week, so we'll be talking about that. Hopefully that'll come out in a few days, but that's really about it. Thank you all for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time.